Hi friends, welcome to part number 2. Should women take leading roles in the church? This teaching was triggered by some of you as we were engaging in part number 1. I hope you will find this teaching helpful. No one is forced to take it. We are just providing information for your informed decisions. The issue of women occupying leadership positions like pastoring, etc., in the church is a serious issue and it needs to be addressed. I personally feel pained how church still do this today, restricting women from accepting leading positions and demonizing them just because they are women. It is really very disappointing. Restricting women to do leading office works for God is not scriptural at all, but very oppressive. This makes women look less human. Restricting women is wrong and encourages male chauvinism or male domination in the church, which is a cultural demon which must be cast out of the church completely. If you do not know, these restrictions on women has caused a lot of delay in the spreading of the gospel. Culture and traditions of men must not be part of the spiritual church whatsoever. They have successfully destroyed the dignity of women in the church and reduced them to incapable vessels and to half humans. There are 6 points we will deal with to address this issue. Number 1, at creation. Please know that at creation, that is where we get the original information, where we must always refer to avoid misconceptions. Take full note of that. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 to 27. God created the original man with a woman inside, in his image and likeness. This means that man has spiritual capacity to dominate the celestial, the terrestrial, and the marine worlds, according to verse number 26. Adam was first created by the dust of the ground. Out of him came a woman. That Eve came out of the man must not be seen as spiritual inferiority in the sight of a woman, because both have the same God and both are in the image of God. Did you see that? Genesis 2:7. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Afterwards, God took one rib of man and made a woman. We can therefore make these deductions out of all above, that women and men are equal spiritually, as they have equal God. No one has more God than another. I'm saying this for explanation purposes. You see that? We can deduce that both Adam and Eve have no gender spiritually. So it's God they are coming from. We can also deduce that they are male and female only physically. As you know, distinct features in male and female with regard to gender, beard, breast, even intellectual and emotional capacities, etc., considering the bone location which was used to make a woman. We can deduce with emphasis that God is neither male nor female. Him being called father or he are just roles or responsibilities he has. It is an insult even to think that he is a male. He is the Father because he is our source. He has begotten us. That the Spirit is addressed as he does not make him a male. It is his responsibility as well. Jesus was a male physically, but spiritually a spirit, not a male. Okay? We can further deduce that spirit does not have gender. That is why there is no marriage in the afterlife after this world. Luke 20 verse 34, and Jesus answering said unto them, the children of this world marry and are given in marriage. Verse 35. But they which shall be accounted worthy to obtain that world and the resurrection of the dead neither marry nor are given in marriage. This is to explain that spirit does not have gender. There is no female or male spirit. The dead become genderless immediately at death because the body drops to the ground. Did you get that? It is a lie that somebody has a female or male spirit, more especially in the so-called ancestral spirits. You see that? Number 2, deception. Everything was well said and going well at the garden, and something historical happened. Eve got deceived in the garden by the serpent, and they both ate what they were not supposed to eat and died spiritually, which means God was no longer there. Man separated himself from God. They both continue to live without God, just like the unbelievers now. For the first time, God then put Adam to rule over Eve, because Eve was the one deceived, not Adam. It was not so at creation. Take note of that. Genesis 3:16, unto the woman he said, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. 1 Timothy 2:14, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. The word ruling over by men does not in any way mean oppression or abuse by men to wives, like what we now call gender-based violence by men. It means being responsible, being protectors, being defenders of wives from another deception, because that would be very costly if not taken care of. You see that? For that reason, in a family setup, a woman must submit to her husband, where a man is the head and rules over the wife. This is a physical family. Take note of that. No question about that. We also must know that families are patterned after Christ, husband/groom, and the church, wife/bride, which is a spiritual family. This must not mean that a woman must always be a subordinate and must submit everywhere she goes. There are schools in particular where women are principals. All men must submit to the principal. That is why Paul says, Ephesians 5:21, submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God. Okay? No one will allow his wife to submit everywhere because she is a woman. When women are out for workshops or meetings, they are equal with all male colleagues there, except, of course, those in leadership. Submission must not be abused. Number 3, restoration. Jesus' finished work on the cross was the work of rectification, rectifying the mistakes caused in the garden by bringing God back to humanity through salvation as a quickening spirit. Jesus restored spiritual capacity, dominance, and brought men to the position of spiritual authority